Welcome to the Save Yourselves panel. I am excited to talk to you about this indie sci-fi movie. We've got the filmmakers and the cast with us. So this is going to be a good time to inform you all about this movie that you have to check out. I am Chris Gore from Film Thread, and I have seen this movie twice, and I can tell you you're in for a treat when you check it out. So let's get right to it. Introducing the co-directors, Alex H. Fisher, Eleanor Wilson, which are also, you're a couple, right? I mean, you're in the same room.
We're quarantined together.
Yes, it's a bit of a giveaway at the moment.
Real life couple.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And then the couple from the film, Sunita Mani, thank you so much for joining us. And of course, John Reynolds, who plays Jack. Sunita, you play Sue. First of all, how did we all end up here talking about this movie? Which I think at the beginning is going to be, where did you come up with this? How did the whole project come together?
Yeah, well, Eleanor made up the idea for the movie, so she has to explain.
Oh, sure. Yeah, well, the premise of the movie is that a couple, John and Sunita, go upstate to be off the internet for a week, and then aliens attack. That was really like the whole idea for a while.
I thought it was great.
Alex thought it was funny, and so we teamed up and made it into a script and hopefully made it into a little bit more than just a silly idea. And then we got these clowns on board, and then it became a silly idea again.
For John and Sunita, how did you get involved? How did you discover the script, and what was your reaction to it?
I loved the script. I thought it was really funny. I know Alex and Eleanor from days of yore. We're good friends, but I respect them equally as creators and co-directors. It's not just because we're friends that I wanted to be involved. I was like dying to be involved. So I was happy when it worked out. And I had just, by nature of being friends, I had heard of the idea, but, and was really into it and excited for them to at every step of the way, even though I wasn't officially, I guess, involved.
We didn't tell Sunita at the start, but we did write it for her. We just didn't. We took a while to be like, we could approach this professionally and do everything right.
So we're really good friends for a long time, but I wanted to make sure that the script was good enough before we showed it to her.
Right.
I was so excited.
And then she said yes.
Yeah, I was totally into it. Probably a year before it was all officially coming together, and I was just so excited to feel involved along the way, and very excited when John was able to do it too. We're buds, so.
Yes. Hello. Feels good to be here. I got involved in the project, I guess through a mutual friend, John Early. He had texted me about it first, and then I saw the script from Alex and Eleanor, and it was really funny. And they said they're going to get Sunita involved. And I had known Sunita from the New York comedy scene, and was already a big fan and friends with her. So it was pretty easy. And we had a camera test day, and it was really fun and sort of effortless. So it was really nice to be able to act alongside of a friend and someone that you could trust to be good.
John was our first and only choice for Jack ever. Yeah. We were very excited that he wanted to be a part of it, and this little camera test day that John was talking about was really fun, and just getting them together and seeing them say parts of the script, it was just wow, this is going to be really special.
Yep, and we wanted to cast two people that sort of knew or had a similar shorthand about what they thought was funny. So Sunita and John being able to make each other laugh in real life was really helpful for when we were shooting the movie, and then feeling like a real couple or having a real rapport.
Yeah.
If you've seen the trailer for the film, John's character Jack has a mustache, which is missing today, and I didn't realize how important that was to your role because it really you look vastly different.
Oh yeah, thank you. Yeah, I like to really transform when I'm working, and now I'm just in chill vibe, and you can probably tell.
Chill vibe is shaving for John.
John lost 100 pounds for the role.
A mustache.
Yeah, could you imagine? I did shave.
There was some debate about the mustache going into it. John just showed up to rehearsals with the mustache, and we were like, "So, are you gonna keep that?"
Yeah, we didn't.
But then everybody in the office just fell in love with John's mustache, and we're like, "Okay, we can't argue with the mustache. It's obviously a thing."
John grew it like
for it, and I was wearing it unironically, and sometimes I do, and then Alex and Eleanor said they didn't want it to be too goofy, and I was like, why did it looks goofy? I thought it looked good.
And it turns out it does look good.
Yeah, he was right.
It looks great.
Well, Sunita and John have such great chemistry between each other. You mentioned, knowing each other from the New York comedy scene. But there's what I really love about the film is how it's grounded in a reality. Can you talk about that from the writing side, and then also like Sunita and John from being in front of the camera? Like that reality that grounds it makes it all the more entertaining.
Yeah,
that's what we were going for exactly that reason. We thought it would be more fun and funnier to watch, like if you thought these were two real people that you might know and how they would react to these like furry little aliens.
I think we'd seen a lot of making fun of hipsters a lot, and that's fun too, but we just kind of wanted to just make it a little deeper around make these people feel like your friends and like people that you like, and it might kind of stretch the idea a little bit, I guess. But it was just constantly kind of checking in on tone, both in the writing process and then when we started talking about it with these guys and on set. I think that was the thing that we talked about a lot, was how far can we push this, because you can at times push it to be pretty goofy and ridiculous, but you kind of have to earn those moments.
Yeah, and John and Sunita also are really great at playing big goofy characters.
Yeah.
So it was but we knew that they could do the realism too, and there's a little bit of both, because it's it's a ridiculous situation, but we part of the reason why we wanted them to be in the movie was because they could pull off both, and the realism as well.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like at times it was hard because Sunita and I would just egg each other on and want to be funny and make each other laugh. So I feel like our instinct was to always go really silly, and it was
go ahead.
Nice to have Alex and Eleanor as a constant reminder that that wasn't what we were supposed to be doing all the time.
I mean, it's so good though when the aliens do arrive and you guys do have those really crazy moments. It all feels earned at that point.
Like this one part where Sunita's running away and she's just got her hands flying in the air.
It's very funny.
Really funny.
Did we keep that?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's in the movie.
Great.
Sunita, have you not seen the film? Have you ever seen the final cut?
It's just not for me. I was very happy with the way it turned out. I think because of that, kind of what everyone's saying on set. I think John and I both the comedy sensibility that we have is it starts up here, a very heightened, absurd reality. So to actually share that is kind of funny because it was real and funny, building from, I think, just where we like to play. But so yeah, that constant reminder of no, that's you're starting at 10 and you bring it down. It was really satisfying to see the final cut and how that worked, and it was really funny without having so much of a hand in it in the process, to be honest. Sorry, Alex.
Was there any improvisation between you two, Sunita, you and John, during a lot of those scenes? There are just so many funny moments.
Thank you. First of all, thank you.
And second of all, thank you so much.
Hey, to piggyback off of that, thank you. And yeah, I think the script was pretty tight, and that's a credit to Alex and Eleanor. But obviously, well, not obviously, I don't know why I said that. There were a lot of moments where we were given freedom to improvise, and at no point was it too strict where we couldn't make things our own or make it feel natural. So I think there were probably like small little dialogue tweaks the whole time. And yeah, I think, didn't you guys said this the first time we had a meeting? I like asked if there was improvisation in the movie.
Yeah.
'Cause I wanted to.
You were like, we're not
Yeah.
gonna have to be word perfect, right? We were like, no.
No, it was, I mean, that was kind of what's great, especially like I'm from Australia. The way that I write things are not the way that people should say them,
She
really.
said-
Like,
Eleanor
so
says
everyone kind of,
flavor stuff.
yeah, sure, that's a word I say,
That's
but
an Australian thing. You can't say that in America.
yeah. So it's kind of, I mean, it's great when actors come on board and are able to just kind of like take the script and be like, yeah, I get the gist. Like, we can say this in the way that feels natural, and those guys certainly brought that to the table. It was also some of our favorite lines in the movie now are things that were improvised that
Yeah.
they made seem scripted. They're very like when John says we're toast.
Yeah.
In the movie, we
It's
didn't
very
write
funny.
that. It's very funny. Yeah.
Well, for Alex and Eleanor, what's it like working as co-directing and co-writing team? Co-directing couples, I think, are becoming more and more prominent. But what's your process, and how do you work together?
We sort of figured it out on this project, really, what our process was, but the writing was very easy,
hmm
I would say.
Yeah. Well, writing by yourself is very hard.
Yeah, it's much easier.
And writing with somebody that you live with is pretty fun. And like it was like fun to write. And then it was like hard to make it really actually good. And then it was really fun when it was good. And then when we were directing, I don't know. What do you guys think? We tried to do a good job.
I think it's nice always like having another person on set who is as invested in every moment as you are.
Yeah.
So that's definitely like a huge plus.
We like got on the same page about all the things beforehand, so we didn't have much to
Hash out,
decide at
yeah.
the time, and we pretty much just like talked throughout the whole thing, and then did like we would just be like, what do you think of the racket in the corner of the room over there? Don't like it? All right.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I think it was probably like at times it's a different thing, obviously, for crew and cast, having two people, involved in all the decisions as opposed to one. But I don't know, maybe it's not that different to like just having producers around and the whole thing's like so collaborative anyway. It's sort of like, I mean, half the time I feel like Lucy, our script supervisor, was like a third director.
Yeah.
On the day, like we would spend a lot of time like checking in with her and talking with her about different things.
And Katie, our production designer too, like we opened up a lot of stuff to everybody, like to make actual big creative decisions and stuff.
Actually, I was watching footage the other day because I was pulling poof bloopers, and it was really sweet, like watching some of the poof stuff. Like Sunitha and John were both like getting involved in like there's this time where we're doing this sort of like complicated camera move and poof move at the same time, and Sunitha's like, are you sure the umbrella wasn't in shot? And I was like, oh, you guys are invested in this like weird little thing about the poof right now that like,
yeah, everybody gets involved.
wasn't like, you guys were like a shoulder in that shot that we were doing, but you were both like kind of checking in on like making sure that the shot was good, and it was like, oh, this is so lovely.
It was
Often-
obsessed with that umbrella.
Well, oftentimes we black out after we shoot something, and I don't even know what just happened. I'm still here that I was there.
Yes, you were there. Yeah.
Well, I wanted to actually ask about that. The poofs. Now that sort of the poof is out of the bag.
Oh yes, we said it. Whoops.
Yes, you said poof, which is the name of the creatures, aliens. We really don't know much about them. I know you made the decision to shoot it practical, which I think is great. For Sunitha and John, like, how did that make it? Did that make it easier or more challenging to act with poofs rather than digital effects? What was that like? And then I just want to explore the design of these aliens because I don't think I've seen anything like it in a science fiction movie.
Nice.
Yeah, they were so cool and great. I think it made it easier because we were just truly kind of reacting in real time to the curiosity that it was. A lot of the concepting was helpful for the acting because it really is this great combination of like odd and kind of non-threatening, but also really ominous, which encapsulates the tone of the movie. I think it's both like sweet and ominous, and it was really fun to have the poof on set. It was like a new level. Like it sort of like for me like brought the level up or something. It was like, okay, the poof is here. We are making a movie.
Yeah.
And the poof is here. I don't know. It was like a fun element to like elevate the game for me. And yeah, I missed it when it wasn't on set. And I wrote a lot in my journal about it. Like when I
Yeah, this is a big topic of discussion. I thought the poofs were nice to have, especially it was like a lot better than looking at like a tennis ball that would be on top of like a C-stand or something like that, you know? It
no
was like
bueno.
nice to have the physical creature. And also the guy who made all the physical props, Carter, was just like a very funny, like sweet guy who was sort of like come in and out to show off his like new contraptions and stuff. So it's just like sort of a nice presence to have, and it was always exciting to see like how the tongue would move or what magnets he would use to see if the tongue would actually stick. So it was nice to have him. And also I think there's something terrifying about practical effects like that. Like there's sort of like an uncanny valley aspect to it that makes it way more terrifying than VFX. Like in Evil Dead, like the original, like all those effects are disgusting. Like it actually looks satanic. So yeah.
Yeah, that was the idea, I guess, was like the whole movie we felt, you know, as we've talked about, we tried to keep really grounded. And so it was like, if we keep the effects grounded as well, it will fit into the piece. We didn't want to just all of a sudden, partway through the movie, there's all this VFX and it comes out of nowhere.
Yeah, and Calder had like, he really did have like a different thing for every shot.
Yeah.
So like there's a different
Calder.
skeleton under.
Oh, I said Carter.
Yeah, you
I
said
know.
Okay, I was just gonna skim over that.
I think
John,
we
you
can
said
edit that out.
Carter.
Let's start over.
We can edit that out. It was Calder, and my mouth is just dry. So I think all right.
Yeah.
What were you
Did you-
saying, Al?
Did you ever have any desire to kind of hug the poofs? I know everybody on the set of a Star Wars movie wants to hug Chewbacca. They just seem so, well, I mean, they seem deceptively cuddly. That's,
Yeah.
you know, cute.
And they are soft.
Yeah, they're soft, but they have a hard shell interior, so they're actually not like squishy like you would want them to be.
They're fun to
to
pet.
touch,
to, like,
yeah.
pet,
Although
but
we mostly
not to
told
squeeze.
people don't touch the poof.
Yeah, Eleanor,
And they were
we
definitely
gave
like,
everyone a mini poof so they could touch their own poof when they had the desire to touch a poof.
that was early on. Eleanor was like, people are going to want to touch this thing and it's going to get all oily and gross. So we got to give out, we bought these little little keychain poofs that everyone got. So if everyone was feeling like they wanted to touch the poof, they just got to squeeze their own poof.
Yeah.
Their own little tiny one.
Oh my God,
But that was the solution. But I mean, of course, everyone touched it anyway.
Yeah, they all wanted to.
But yeah, it's a funny thing. It's, you know, there was a lot of in this footage that I was pulling the other day. There's so much footage of me just like grooming the poof as if it's like some perfect. I mean, it's just bizarre. It's a bizarre thing to watch, like how much we cared about.
yeah, they're
like
really
the way the
practiced
fur looked.
on
Yeah,
set.
they were.
Like, you knew that you weren't gonna hug it. It was like soft and it was mesmerizing, but like do not touch the poof. Or people touched it, but it was a revered thing to me on set.
There was one scene where Sunitha and John weren't privy to how the poof would move in the particular shot. It's when you guys are
In the car.
on the
Yeah.
road.
Oh
And
yeah.
so we were shooting over their shoulder, and then they really reacted to it the way it really moved.
Yeah, it
And we
was
used
so
it in the
funny.
movie. It's really funny.
Yeah, because they're just like, holy.
I feel like when
Great.
I saw the movie, I was like, that's what it looks like. I was like, man, I really wish I would have known.
Yeah,
We
yeah,
changed
yeah.
some things in that scene, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I want to
There
ask.
was some
No spoilers.
manipulation in post, yeah.
I want to ask how much, because you used a lot of special effects techniques like force perspective and all sorts of
Yeah.
old Hollywood techniques applied to practical effects. But how much thought went into the? I don't want to give anything away, so nothing from the last half of the movie. But it seems like there's a lot of thought put into what the creatures, their desires are, what there's how they move. How much did you sort of the thought process and thinking through like what these creatures are, where they came from? Are you keeping it all mysterious for the sequel?
We have a lot of thoughts about that.
We kind of had
Backstory.
We have a lot of backstory and like some principles, and then our main like guiding light for the movie was that this is the movie where the characters don't figure out they don't figure out anything. Like we tried to keep it real. So it was like in a real scenario, would we be able to figure out what the aliens do? And like, I don't think we would. So we kind of
Not
like,
in,
so
not
in
in
the
a couple
movie,
days.
it's like they think they're gonna figure something out, and then maybe they don't.
We tried to always turn it on its head like that. Like every time you think that you know something about the poof, it does something different. So that was kind of like fun, and also like made it sort of the mythology be able to be like a little loose in the beginning. And even when we after we wrote the script and then we got into what we called Poof Lab with Calder, was we really sort of like took all these ideas and then said to him, okay, like what's gonna look the best here, like how can we kind of make the poof move in different ways? And we changed some things about the mythology based on the practical effects, which was kind of just like a fun and free way to go about things, because I think if you just try and like shoehorn something and an idea, it can often like not end up looking that good. So we just tried to like remain flexible with that stuff.
Well, I really wanted to ask that just for the nerds in the audience, like myself. I am a nerd and need to know this. Wait, so someone was going to say something.
I was going to say, I wish my hair went through a poof lab. As you were talking,
your hair is
how it moved and like what it was gonna do and like what best conditions. Anyway, my hair was a poof lab in process.
Then we can all come up to you between takes and like.
There is actually some of that. Yeah. We could just like just massage your head.
We should have given you guys more attention, as much attention as we gave the poof.
Yes, I think that's what the takeaway from this is.
No, in the final cut, we're neglected.
We could talk about the aliens and the sort of science fiction aspect of the movie, which is great, but I feel like this film is about much more underneath the surface. There are far more layers to this. There's disconnecting from your devices. There's sort of modern relationships and the challenges that come with that, trying to be a better person. John wants to do man stuff. His character, Jack
wants to do man stuff.
Jack wants to do stuff. Yeah. Maybe John wants to too. I don't know you, John, but
no, we'll see.
But I really found that endearing. And could you talk about that, both from like, performing that for Sunita and John and Alex and Eleanor, like putting that together? I feel like the layers are really what ground this, being about this cataclysmic worldwide event. And then we're sort of focused on this microcosm of this sweet couple.
Yeah. Well, Sunita, you have an answer?
I'm happy to talk about it, but I was gonna let you guys go first.
Well, we always thought of it as like we wanted to make like a kind of a classic rom-com, even though it's about like living in like 2020, 2019 phones and being addicted to technology. We wanted to make it like a classic rom-com, so we kind of wanted to like the specificity of the characters and the story of their relationship. We wanted it to feel like it could sustain a whole movie if it had to. And then the sci-fi is like kind of just like takes over the movie and takes it into a new place. So we really like wanted it to be grounded in that. work as that first. So,
but I think also, yeah, the like you were saying, the themes, I guess, of the movie are also what grounds it. And we were trying to, yeah, basically, as the script developed, we realized that the movie wasn't just about disconnecting from your phones, but it was sort of maybe more about the fact that we're all kind of obsessed with our own little bubble and not really seeing the bigger picture of what's going on in the world. So that was the thing that was certainly a thing that we tried to layer in there, but we extracted lines of dialogue in the edit because it was too on the nose. Like we were like, no, we can't say the theme. We have to just, I think we made John say the theme.
Yeah, we took it out.
And we took that out in the edit. It's that fine line.
But yeah, it's all about like you read all the ways that the world is, coming to a swift end, and then you have to like make dinner, or like then you like watch a movie or whatever, and then the movie's kind of about how impossible of a situation it is, and how we're all sort of just like totally ill-equipped for what's coming.
Yay!
It's funny.
Sunita and John, I'm sure you have comments.
Yeah. No, it was, I love that about the script. It drew me to it even more that kind of halfway through, we're questioning just like skill sets, like basic apocalypse kind of thinking and skill sets. And I love that that's sort of like in the middle, because that's kind of there the whole time, and it really hits when they're at a loss. And I love that they're sort of like on the same page, Jack and Sue, like little two peas in a pod with like this idealistic vision of their relationship and how they can change it. And then by the end, they're just like, they're this same people, but you kind of, they find out who they are a little more. That allowed us to just sort of like do the day-to-day thinking in the script of like, what should we do? Like it was really fun to just like sort of be in those characters' shoes in the way that, yeah, like they're saying the reality of just like, what would that be like? How do you ask these questions? How do you deal with the situation? I don't know. You don't have big answers. It was nice to have like a very small story about that.
Yeah, I thought that from like an acting standpoint, it was really nice that the story was really a relationship story, and that was like the heart of the script, and that the sort of apocalyptic elements or the aliens just sort of heightened the absurdity, and it was like the circumstance that the characters were going through. So that was really fun, and the characters were really well defined. And for me, I love that, Jack was sort of going through and trying to dissect like his masculinity and how he relates to it. Because I feel like in a lot of my own work, I'm like trying to figure that out as well. And I feel like there are parts of Jack that I really relate to, and I have so many friends that he reminds me of. So it was nice to play a character that I was sort of already endeared to from the start. And that's all I have to say about the script.
There's a scene in the movie where Jack is unable to do a task that real John is very good at. I won't give any spoilers, but real John, way better than Jack.
I'm curious what audiences have thought of it. I know that it screened at Sundance Film Festival, this past Sundance Film Festival, which feels like 10 years ago.
Oh my God, yeah.
It feels like it was so long ago, but what have been the takeaways and what's it like to see it in front of an audience? What is their experience like, and how fun is it to see it in front of an audience?
It was way better than I thought it was going to be, actually.
It was wild.
It was really fun. It was like something, I think at Sundance you have altitude plus goodwill. So there's like really, maybe a little louder than usual. But we would, there was one screening, it was like a 1,200 person theater at the Eccles. And I snuck into the back and recorded part of it because I wanted to remember how fantastic it felt
The
to have
audience just
people be
cheering
so
and,
audibly responding to the movie.
and clapping mid-movie. I mean, it was
like
really
applause breaks
fun.
and stuff. It was more than expected, and we thought that was great.
Yeah, people have been very nice about it. It's very fun. What have you guys?
It's like that. I'm so grateful we had that. That's like, I mean, to go to Sundance is a dream to me. That was an amazing, like, fulfilling experience. It's so funny that we're like there's like an apocalypse happening outside. The movie is about an apocalypse, and it's like too relevant, but at the same time it's just like, again, this small story and like a fun story and a project that I'm really proud of.
Sundance was like fully a whole nother world ago.
Yeah.
And the idea that we were shaking so many hands and touching and hugging so many people,
it's unreal.
and like, drinking in altitude and like not sleeping, it just seems absolutely absurd that we're alive still. And like it's gotten to the point, you know, where I'm watching movies in my house and I'm like, get away from each other, stop touching each other. And I just like can't even believe that had happened. And obviously I'm so grateful for the fact that it did happen. And I also feel like now I relate to the characters much more because I'm like fully making these grocery lists and washing my groceries and like preparing to go outside, and it does feel so stressful.
Yeah, and the relationship to technology now too, to actually like connect to people, but you're so isolated, and that you hate this thing, but you need this thing, phone. It's a funny, retrospective experience. Like, I was just doing this.
All of us like are in relationships right now also, so I know for me like it's you know, you're in such close proximity with your partner and you're only seeing your partner, so you're having like these talks and spending time together in ways that you didn't even before, even though you lived together. So sometimes I just think like I'm in the movie.
Yeah.
You're in a cabin right now too.
Yeah.
Well,
right, Chris? Back me up, man.
It's amazing how like in 6 months this movie has, you know, it was screened at Sundance, and then now it's even more relevant than when it was screened at Sundance, just in terms of the themes. So pretty amazing.
On the nose.
Yeah, it is. I'm being told
the movie everyone's trying to write now.
Yeah, well, it's unfortunate.
The Jared Leto story.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I got to wrap it up, but I want to thank everyone, Alex and Eleanor, John, Sunita. The movie is Save Yourselves from Bleecker Street, and Legion M is supporting the release of the film, so follow Legion M on all the socials. We love Legion M. They put out a lot of they help support a lot of releases of cool genre movies, and there is not a more relevant genre film that you could see than Save Yourselves. Check it out. Thanks everyone from Bleecker Street and Legion M. I'm Chris Gore. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. This was a blast.
Thank you, Chris.
Appreciate it. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.